The ultimatum and the response. The Grand Assembly Hall of Earth fell silent as the holographic projection of High Chancellor Vexarius materialized above the central platform. His crystalline body shimmered with internal light, the hallmark of the Astrine race who had ruled the Galactic Federation for millennia. Behind him stood representatives from a dozen alien species, the Council of Elders who governed thousands of worlds across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. People of Earth, Vexarius's voice resonated through the chamber, a perfect synthesis of authority and disdain. For 2 centuries, your planet has enjoyed the protection and technological benefits of the Federation while contributing minimally to our collective resources. President Elena Reyes of the United Earth Government sat motionless at the head of the assembly, her dark eyes fixed on the alien diplomat. Beside her, Admiral Jackson Way, commander of Earth's defense forces, maintained an equally impassive expression. The Council has determined this arrangement can no longer continue. Vexarius continued. Earth will now provide appropriate tribute. 20% of your mineral production, 10,000 human laborers annually for Federation projects, and the transfer of 12 of your orbital habitats to Federation control. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as representatives from Earth's various regions exchanged glances. You have 48 hours to begin compliance procedures, Vexarius concluded with a dismissive gesture. The Federation battle group currently approaching your system will oversee the initial transfer. Refusal is inadvisable. The hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the hall in stunned silence. Admiral Wei leaned toward President Reyes. They've dispatched the 7th Fleet, 43 capital ships according to deep space surveillance. Reyes nodded slightly, then stood to address the assembly. The council chambers will be cleared for an emergency session of the Security Committee. We reconvene in 1 hour. Inside the secure conference room deep beneath Geneva, the mood was grim. Maps and tactical displays covered the walls, showing the approaching Federation fleet, a force that, by conventional assessments, outmatched Earth's defenses by a factor of 5. They expect us to cave immediately, said Defense Minister Omar Singh, examining the fleet's approach vector. This isn't a negotiation. It's the beginning of colonization. Dr. Sophia Chen, Director of Advanced Research, pushed a data tablet across the table. We've analyzed similar tribute arrangements. On every world where they've been implemented, Federation control expanded to complete subjugation within 20 years. President Rice surveyed the grim faces around the table. Options. Conventional military response would be catastrophic, Admiral Wei stated flatly. Their technology outclasses our public capabilities. We'd lose millions in the first wave alone. Diplomatic channels. Asked Foreign Secretary Alejandro Diaz. The Federation has already closed them, Singh replied. This ultimatum bypassed all normal protocols. And compliance? Rides asked, though her tone made clear she already knew the answer. Submission now would only delay the inevitable, Dr. Chen said quietly. Analysis suggests total Federation control within a decade if we begin tribute payments. Reyes stood, walking to the window that overlooked Lake Geneva. For several moments she said nothing, then turned back to face her cabinet. What they don't know, she said carefully, is exactly how much we've been preparing for this day. Admiral Wei straightened in his chair. Madam President, Project Prometheus, she said simply. The room fell silent. Are we ready? Singh finally asked. Admiral Wei exchanged glances with Dr. Chen before answering. 93% operational. We'd planned for another year of development, but we don't have another year. Rice finished for him. She took her seat again, hands clasped before her. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's time humanity showed the Federation exactly who they're dealing with. The response transmission was brief. President Rice stood alone before the camera, her expression resolute. High Chancellor Vexarius, I speak for the unified peoples of Earth. We have considered your demands for tribute. She paused, the silence stretching. Our answer is no. The transmission ended. In the Federation flagship Eternal Dominion, the Council of Elders stared at the blank screen in disbelief. They refused. Elder Kraziks of the Valderan hegemony hissed through triple-hinged jaws. Impossible. Their defensive capabilities are negligible. Vexarius's crystalline form pulsed with amber light, the Astrian equivalent of amusement. Every species resists initially. It establishes the proper conditions for their capitulation. Fleet Admiral Thrix, a towering reptilian draconis, bowed slightly. The humans will learn their place. Shall I begin atmospheric bombardment of their capital cities? No, Vexarius replied thoughtfully. A more measured approach. Target their orbital defense platforms first. Let them watch their pitiful defenses crumble before we escalate. On Earth, preparations moved with practiced efficiency. In secure facilities beneath major cities, military personnel activated systems that had been developed in secret for decades. Deep within the lunar regolith, automated factories that officially produced mining equipment began reconfiguring to their true purpose. Admiral Wei stood in the central command hub beneath Mount Cheyenne, watching as status indicators across the global defense network changed from amber to green. Prometheus command sequence initiated, announced the soft-spoken AI that coordinated Earth's hidden defenses. Quantum shield generators at 70% and rising. Graviton disruption arrays coming online. Phase-shifted weapon platforms decloaking in high orbit. Dr. Chen monitored energy signatures from a separate console. Power distribution is stable. The Federation won't detect the buildup until we're fully operational. President Race's voice came through on the command channel. Admiral, how long before the Federation reaches optimal strike range? 17 minutes, Madam President. And our readiness. Prometheus will be fully operational in 15. A brief silence. Then we'll greet them properly when they arrive. The Federation flagship led the assault formation, its massive hull gleaming in the light of Sol as it approached Earth orbit. Accompanying it were dozens of warships arranged in a perfect attack pattern, the culmination of millennia of military doctrine. On the bridge, Admiral Thrix watched with satisfaction as targeting systems locked onto Earth's visible defense platforms, primitive weapons satellites, and early warning systems that posed no threat to his advanced fleet. All vessels in position, his executive officer reported. Weapons locked on initial targets. Begin the demonstration, Thrix ordered. The first volley of Federation energy weapons lanced toward Earth's orbital defenses, and then something unprecedented happened. The beams struck an invisible barrier 50,000 kilometers from Earth's surface, dissipating in spectacular, harmless displays of light. What was that? Thrix demanded, rising from his command chair. Unknown defensive technology. His science officer replied, mandibles clicking in confusion. Sensors detect. This can't be right. A phase-shifted energy barrier encompassing the entire planet. Before Thrix could respond, new contacts began appearing on the tactical display. Hundreds of them, materializing from apparently empty space around his fleet. Cloaked defensive platforms, the tactical officer called out, her voice rising in alarm. They're powering weapons. Impossible, Vexarius stated flatly, his crystalline form now pulsing red with agitation. Human technology is not capable of. His words were cut short as the first Federation destroyer erupted in a ball of plasma. Then another, and another. The battle had begun. And for the first time in generations, the Federation found itself outmatched. The reckoning and the new order. Admiral Thrix stared in disbelief at the tactical display as a third of his fleet erupted into expanding clouds of debris. The humans had somehow concealed an entire defensive network, weapons platforms utilizing technology that Federation intelligence had deemed centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. Pull back to regroup, he ordered, his reptilian features rigid with controlled fury. All ships, evasive maneuvers, deploy countermeasures. Throughout the Federation armada, panic spread like wildfire. Vessels designed for overwhelming force against inferior opponents suddenly found themselves targeted by weapons that bypassed their shielding systems. The elegant attack formation dissolved into chaos. On the bridge of the flagship, High Chancellor Vexarius's crystalline form pulsed with angry crimson light. This defiance is unprecedented. How could our intelligence fail so catastrophically? The answer came not from his subordinates, but from a transmission that cut through the Federation communication channels with ease. Admiral Wei's face appeared on the main view screen, composed and confident. Federation vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. Your fleet is surrounded and outgunned. You have breached sovereign Earth space with hostile intent. Withdraw immediately or face complete neutralization. Vexarius surged forward. You dare threaten the mighty Federation? You are nothing but primitives, Wo. We are humanity, Wei interrupted calmly. And we have been preparing for this day since your scouts first assessed our world 2 centuries ago. We recognized predators when we saw them. In Earth's command center, President Reyes watched the exchange with grim satisfaction. Beside her, Dr. Chen monitored the effectiveness of their weapon systems. The graviton disruptors are exceeding expectations, Chen reported. Their propulsion systems are failing across the board. Their ships literally cannot maneuver properly in our altered space-time field. On another screen, Lieutenant Commander Fatima Rice, no relation to the President, coordinated the swarms of autonomous defense drones that had been hidden in the asteroid belt for decades. Under her guidance, the swarms moved with perfect precision, overwhelming Federation point defenses and delivering pinpoint strikes against propulsion and weapon systems. We're not aiming to annihilate them, President Reyes reminded her team, just to demonstrate that the cost of subjugating Earth would be unacceptably high. Admiral Wei nodded without taking his eyes off the tactical display. Phase 2. Proceed, Reyes confirmed. Throughout the solar system, previously dormant systems activated. Mining outposts on Mars, scientific stations on Europa, and automated facilities on Titan revealed their secondary functions, as forward military bases hosting Earth's interplanetary fleet. Ships that had been officially classified as freight haulers and research vessels powered up weapon systems and began coordinated movements toward the Federation battle group. These vessels weren't large by Federation standards, but they were fast, maneuverable, and equipped with technologies that Earth had developed in secret while presenting a carefully crafted image of technological inferiority to Federation observers. Admiral Thrix watched in mounting horror as his tactical display showed human vessels converging from all directions. This is impossible, he muttered. Their technological capability was assessed at level 3. These weapons are at least level 6. We've been deceived, Vexarius stated, his voice hollow. For generations. On Earth, Lieutenant Commander Fatima Reyes allowed herself a thin smile. My grandfather was part of the original deception program, she told President Reyes during a brief lull in the battle. He helped build the facade that convinced Federation observers we were just simple, primitive humans grateful for any technological scraps they deigned to share. The President nodded. While all along we were reverse engineering every piece of alien technology we could get our hands on, and developing our own paths they never anticipated. The battle in Earth orbit had reached its turning point. Federation vessels were retreating, forming a defensive perimeter around their flagship. Nearly half their force had been disabled or destroyed, while Earth had lost only a handful of automated platforms. They're regrouping, Admiral Wei noted, preparing for a counterattack. As expected, Dr. Chen replied. Their tactical databases have no contingency for this scenario. They're improvising. In the Federation flagship, desperation had replaced confidence. Admiral Thrix and his officers frantically reconfigured their weapons, searching for frequencies that might penetrate Earth's defenses. The Sundering Spear, Vexarius suggested, his crystalline form now a dull, anxious purple. It was installed as a precaution. Thrix hesitated. High Chancellor, the Sundering Spear is a planet killer. Its use against inhabited worlds was forbidden by Federation law 5 millennia ago. This is an exceptional circumstance, Vexarius replied coldly. If humans possess this level of technology and the will to use it against us, they represent an existential threat to Federation supremacy. Prepare the weapon. Deep within the flagship, technicians activated a weapon of unimaginable destructive potential, a gravitational lance capable of disrupting a planet's core, causing it to tear itself apart from within. On Earth, alarms blared in the command center. They're powering something massive, Dr. Chen reported, her voice tense. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Intercepted communications suggest it's called the Sundering Spear, Lieutenant Commander Reyes added. Context indicates it's a planet-killer class weapon. President Reyes's expression hardened. So they would rather destroy us than accept us as equals. Activate the Helios Protocol. Admiral Wei's fingers danced across his control panel, entering a complex authorization sequence. Helios Protocol engage. God help us all. In the void of space between Earth and the Federation fleet, reality itself seemed to shudder. For a moment, nothing visible happened. And then, a sphere of perfect darkness expanded outward from a single point, engulfing the Federation flagship before it could discharge its terrible weapon. Within that sphere, the laws of physics briefly rearranged themselves. When the darkness receded, the flagship was simply gone, not destroyed, but transported instantaneously to a holding position near Jupiter, its systems completely disabled. In the suddenly silent command center, Dr. Chen spoke first. Contained quantum teleportation successful. The flagship has been neutralized and transported to the designated coordinates. All hands appeared to be alive but incapacitated. The remaining Federation vessels, witnessing the instantaneous disappearance of their flagship, broke formation and retreated to the edge of the solar system. President Reyes opened a channel to the scattered Federation forces. Your High Chancellor and flagship crew are alive and unharmed, but they are now in our custody. Earth does not seek war with the Federation, but we will not be subjugated. We propose negotiations for a new relationship, as equals, not as master and servant. The response came from Elder Krazix, now the highest-ranking Federation official present. Humanity has demonstrated unexpected capabilities. The Federation recognizes your right to independence. We will negotiate. 3 weeks later, in the same Grand Assembly Hall where the Federation's ultimatum had been delivered, a new treaty was signed. The Federation recognized Earth as a sovereign power with its own sphere of influence. The humans, for their part, agreed to share some of their unique technological developments and participate in galactic affairs as partners, not subjects. After the ceremony, Vexarius, now stripped of his title as High Chancellor, approached President Reyes privately. I must understand, he said, his crystalline form a subdued blue. How did you conceal your true capabilities for so long? President Reyes studied him for a moment before answering. When humanity first encountered alien life, we realized we were facing a choice: reveal our full potential and be seen as a threat, or appear primitive and use that perception as a shield while we prepared. But why assume hostility from us? Vexarius asked. Because, Reyes replied gently, throughout your history, you've never encountered a species you didn't eventually subjugate. We reviewed the fate of dozens of worlds that welcomed the Federation with open arms, only to find themselves slowly stripped of autonomy. She gestured toward the signed treaty. Perhaps now the galaxy can embrace a new model: cooperation without domination, diversity without hierarchy. Perhaps, Vexarius acknowledged. You have certainly given us cause to reconsider many assumptions. As the former High Chancellor departed, Admiral Wei joined the President at the window overlooking the rebuilt Geneva skyline. Do you think they've truly accepted us as equals? He asked. President Reyes watched the Federation delegation boarding their shuttle. They have no choice. The myth of their superiority has been shattered, not just for us, but for every species watching these events unfold. And the other worlds they subjugated. Rise smiled. Already, we've received communications from 12 systems seeking guidance on how to assert their independence. The galaxy is changing, Admiral. The age of the Federation's unchallenged dominance is over, and humanity's role in what comes next. That, Rice said thoughtfully, will be determined by the choices we make now that the galaxy knows our true strength. Power brings responsibility. Let's hope we use it more wisely than those who came before us. Across the stars, news of Earth's defiance spread like wildfire. The species that had been dismissed as primitive upstarts had stood against the mighty Federation and won. For countless subjugated worlds, humanity's stand represented something long forgotten: hope. The galaxy would never be the same again.